Welcome to another episode of Conversations One-on-One. Today we want to have a conversation about why Black people have been moving backward instead of forward. What are some of the factors contributing to this? And what are some possible ways that we can get back to moving in the right direction? So let's get started with some of the things that we feel are making Black people go backward instead of forward in society and as a people.
Can I start?
Sure, you sure can.
I want to say social media.
What's going on with social media?
The social media platform, it's easy access. And for me, it you have to really dig in and do your research because it's so easy to become lackadaisy and just go by what you're being shown on social media, and you have to really get in there and look for facts. And I think social media is causing our people to not look for the facts. We just repost popular posts, and a lot of the posts are untrue. What we repost.
I can agree. We definitely don't want to just take someone's opinion or narrative or whatever information they're giving just on face value, because people do put false information out there. And especially on social media, people put content out there because it's all about getting views. It's all about getting likes. And if they're convincing enough with what they're trying to tell you, you're going to believe it. The typical person will believe it. And a lot of people are not used to doing research. You know, it takes time and effort. It's almost like being back in school. So,
yes.
So a lot of people don't do it. But that don't mean you don't need to do research, because like I said, anybody can put anything on social media. Me personally, I like to stick to reputable sources and news journals, because there are certain ethics that journalists have to follow when it comes to reporting and putting things out there. Whereas on social media, anybody can put something out there. So I can agree with that. We do need to do research and start learning more and getting our information from reputable sources. The thing I want to start with, what I feel like is pushing Black people backward instead of forward, is economics. Let's get into economics. And I took a few notes here. The lack of relevant Black-owned businesses. And when I say relevant Black-owned businesses, there are some Black-owned businesses. You know, we have Black-owned restaurants, and we do have some Black-owned boutiques, clothing stores, things like that. But when I say relevant Black businesses, which I'm not saying that, you know, people don't wear clothes, because we wear clothes. We eat, you know, even though a lot of the restaurants don't sell the most healthiest food. But I mean, where are the Black-owned gas stations? Where are the Black-owned electric companies, utility companies? Where are the Black-owned telecommunications companies? Where are the Black-owned the major companies like media companies? And we could say we got Black-owned record labels, but that's never really been true, because they've always been a subsidiary of a major label. Like, let's say you got Universal, and then you got Cash Money under Universal, but Universal is at the top. And Black people don't own Universal. Black people don't own Arista. Black people don't own Atlantic Records, Capitol Records. The list goes on. Sony. Black people don't own none of that. So where are the relevant Black businesses that provide services and goods that people need in everyday life? There are a few Black-owned grocery stores. I actually read an article recently about a Black-owned grocery store that recently opened up. And that's great, because we need more Black businesses like that. And the point is, if we don't own these businesses, the relevant Black businesses, then we don't control anything. I've said before in a post that if Black people were to leave off the face of the earth today, the world would not skip a beat, because we don't provide anything that would stop the world from moving if we didn't exist on this planet. And that is a problem. That is a real problem, a real issue. So going back to my list, what else do I have on the list here?
Well, we did invent some things.
Yeah, we did.
That, a major part of everyday life here on this planet right now. As far as what the topic is, why are black people moving backward instead of forward? That's an issue, because we're not creating things anymore. We're not, like you say, a part of this economy that we have going on, because we're not creating. We don't have our own like major banks. We do have some banks that are black owned, but like a lot of major businesses that we need to have in our neighborhoods, those are basically non-existent. If I go up to the gas station up on the corner, they're gonna have Indians that own this place instead of black people, that own the businesses. And we all know that the black dollar doesn't circulate in the black community for what they say, 1.13 seconds or some shit like that.
It's not a long time. Which what you were just talking about brings me to the next point on my list. Allowing other races to siphon money out of the black community. You have a lot of stores that's owned by other races that we allow to just come into the black communities and set up shop. But once they earn all of the money from the black community, that money doesn't circulate. Like, they don't go and spend money in the black community. They take all that money back home to wherever they live, which is not in the black community. And that money never comes back in most cases. So you have the beauty supply stores. Why does another race of people own the majority of the beauty supply stores and sell hair to our people when their hair isn't even like ours? That doesn't make sense. Why do all of the people from the Middle East own the gas stations and the liquor stores? That don't look right,
And these people, they don't like us. They only tolerate us.
Facts.
To get our dollars.
Because they know we'll spend money with them. And just think about it. How many black-owned businesses do you typically see in white communities or Jewish communities? Think about it for a second.
None.
Just think about it for a second, because this is facts. These are the real facts that people don't really want to deal with. People talk about racism this and racism that. Okay, there will always be racism. You'll never be able to get rid of racism. What are you going to do to uplift your people and move your people forward? Okay, so the next problem that's keeping black people going backwards instead of moving forward is not saving and planning for the future, or just not planning for the future, period. And that's the reason why a lot of these other businesses come into our communities and capitalize off of us, because they know how much we are into instant gratification rather than planning and saving for the future. They know we're gonna come up in their store and purchase the newest Jordans that just came out, or we're gonna buy up all that greasy chicken. They know we're gonna get all the weaves they got on the rack. They know this, so they capitalize on that. But the thing is, a lot of the things that we spend money on is unnecessary, and we could be saving more if we just saved and planned for the future. What about our children? What about our grandchildren? A lot of other cultures consider these things, and we used to at a certain point in time, but they've messed us up through our culture, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But they've messed us up through our culture so much that we feel like we need to have these things that we actually don't need to have. But that's causing us not to even be able to have the money to save for the future. How you walking around here in a $200 pair of Jordans and you don't have a car? You wearing them brand new Jordans to the bus stop. That's not making sense. You got the best purse on the rack, but you ain't got no money in it. You got the dopest lace front weave, but you ain't got no money to leave. That mean to call you an Uber if you need to go. But I'm just saying, we got to start planning for the future and stop allowing these other races of people to influence us to spend this money on these things that's unnecessary. To think that we hold some type of status symbol or something because we got this on or that on, or we trying to look like everybody damn else. Trying to impress people that don't even care. That's what we doing. But we're not planning on the future. Planning for the future. Let's move on down the list here. The next thing on the list that I feel like is moving black people in the wrong direction, going backwards instead of forward, is the lack of organization. We don't organize. Now, if you just look throughout history, just look back at history. Look at some of the organizations that have opposed us in the past. They seem to have been very organized. Some of the things now that's keeping us held back they're very well organized. Take notes. Take notes. Look at the Black Panther Party. At their height, they were very well organized and they were getting things done without the aid of the government. They went out here, organized, did things themselves, implemented it, got it done. You need a plan. One man can only do so much, but power is in numbers. We've seen that all throughout history. Why do you think if a country has a problem, especially America, if they pulling up on another country, they're not pulling up with one person? They got a whole squad ready to do the job. Organized. They've got the different ranks, different levels of people, and everybody playing a position to get the objective done. Mm-hmm. So we need to organize. We need to organize within our communities and come together and get things done for us.
And everybody needs to know the position that everybody can't be a leader like he was saying earlier. Play your position, know your role.
Yes, definitely play your position. The other thing that I feel like is pushing black people in the wrong direction, backward instead of forward, is waiting on someone else to solve your problems. How are you going to go to your oppressor and ask for anything? This is your oppressor. Guess what their number one job is? To oppress your ass. Why is you going to them asking for anything? But see, they know this. That's why they allow it. Because as long as you keep coming to them and expect them to get something done for you, they can keep on delaying it and it'll never get done. And you gonna sit your ass up there and keep waiting on it and it'll never get done.
That sounds like reparations.
Facts. Super facts. Y'all look real stupid going to y'all oppressor asking for reparations.
They did it for the Jews.
Who did it for the Jews?
The American government. They paid Jews money.
But they also helping to run some of these organizations that's keeping us held back. Yeah. It's a lot of them running these record labels and these other businesses and banks. They in cahoots. Okay? They in cahoots with each other. They just like a brother. And they keeping us held back. But you can't go to your oppressor and ask for anything. That's dumb. That's super dumb. So that's another thing, because we keep going to ask our oppressor to get things done and we're not doing them ourselves, nothing is ever getting done. Nothing is getting done to move us forward within our communities. So let's move on to the next item on the list. The crabs in the barrel mentality. No one wants to take the back seat and play their position back here. Everybody want to be the head person in charge. Well, that's not possible. Some people have leadership skills. Everyone does not have leadership skills. Some people need to play a subservient role, and you may be able to play that role very well. And by you playing your position within the organization as a whole, then you all can move forward as a whole. Everybody doesn't need to be the leader. I mean, We keep trying to pull each other down. Oh, why they get to be the president? Why can't I be the president or in charge? Like, come on now. Come on. You can be the head in your household. Run your household. When you go outside of that and get part of something, play your position in that and play your position well. And if you just focus on your position and stop trying to hate on the next man, maybe we can get something done. Just maybe.
If everybody play their position, we can all win.
That's facts. Just play your position. The next item on the list, what's keeping us held back instead of moving us forward, is the lack of discipline. Now, we all want our children to do right, do what we tell them to do. But there's some adults out here that lack discipline as well. And when I say discipline, I mean the ability to do the things that you're supposed to do and not do the things that you're not supposed to do or you shouldn't do. Things that's counterproductive, things that you know you can't handle. You may be a person that can't handle your liquor. Don't be out here getting drunk then. You know? You got a good partner, stay with your partner. Don't go out here cheating and doing all this extra stuff. This breaks up families. Your family or your household is broken up. You can't do nothing for the community because you got to get home straight first. See, all of this stuff has a domino effect. And what we're not realizing is this plays a major part on our community as a whole. So, you know, work on yourself. Get right. Do the things you're supposed to do. Don't do the things you're not supposed to do. And you'll become better as a person. You'll be better for your family. And we'll be better as a community. So let's move on to the next thing on the list here. Let's talk about our culture. Unfortunately, some of the most toxic things become part of our culture. Smoking, drinking, being promiscuous, all of this type of stuff. And it gets promoted in our movies, in our music, amongst each other, in our communities. And this does not move us forward. Do you know what being promiscuous brings? STDs. It brings drama. It brings unplanned pregnancies. And we're just keeping it real. But these are things that's being promoted. A lot of times amongst men, you know, you're congratulated or you're you're held in high esteem if you got all the hoes or you got all the women, you know. But what I'm noticing now is a lot of these female rappers promoting this shit too. I'm like, wow, who's pushing this stuff out there? But most of all, who's listening to it? We allowed some of the most toxic things to become part of our culture. You know, ain't nothing wrong with having a drink every now and then, but it's something wrong if your ass is pissy drunk out here on these streets.
You know, it's being pushed in our culture by the record labels, but the record labels are not pushing those things in their culture. You don't hear that going on in the white. You don't hear the white rappers, the ones that do exist, talking about or calling their women hoes or talking about, right. You know,
you're right.
They're women the way our black men talk about us and refer to us. And you don't hear Taylor Swift talking about getting the bag and fucking a whole lot of different. I'm sorry.
I mean, hey.
Sleep with a whole lot of different men. She talk about relationships that she's been in. You know, that's part of how she get her inspiration for her songs. But she don't talk about being promiscuous and sleeping around with a whole lot of different men.
And the crazy thing is, or maybe not the crazy thing, she's still selling out venues and concerts. And a lot of the artists are in other cultures that don't talk about the toxic things that we talk about in our cultures. But like she said, the record labels that's not owned by black people, and I'm not talking about the subsidiary labels. See, that's what y'all don't understand. You see record labels like Cash Money and things like that. But there's always a larger company over them like Universal, Atlantic Records, Sony Music Group, things like that that's not owned by black people. I don't care if they have a black face that's the CEO. We're talking about absolutely owned by black people. These people have the black faces you see on these record label or within these record labels have higher ups telling them what to promote and telling them what to push with certain artists. And it just so happens that with our popular artists, it's always the negative things, always. So we have to overhaul our culture. Even looking at this tripped me out. How we have black entertainment television and it's not owned by black people. Where they do that at?
They sold it.
We always selling our stuff too. But how is black entertainment television not being run by black people? How? But we allow this. And you still gonna sit up there and watch everything Tyler Perry put on there. Everything. This is crazy. We've got some real problems within our community, and it's not what you see on the news. It's really not. The stuff that they show you on the news is to distract you from the real problems, which is some of the things that I've talked about on this here video. But anyway, what I want y'all to do in the comments below, let's come up with some solutions to some of these problems and issues. Let's talk about it in the comments below. And see if we can, come with a better understanding of how we can fix some of these problems. Because these are some major problems that don't really get talked about a lot. And I think people are afraid to talk about them because they're very comfortable. They're comfortable with going to the Middle Eastern-owned liquor store. They're comfortable with going to the Middle Eastern-owned gas station. They're comfortable with going to the Asian-owned beauty supply store. They're comfortable with going to a lot of these white-owned businesses, buying all this food in these grocery stores and all of that. They're comfortable doing this stuff and not ready to struggle to get our own. So let's talk about it. Purchase Malicious Intentions. All you have to do is click the link in the description below. There you go. Get Malicious Intentions. It's a great novel. You should definitely read it. It's not a hard read. And read instead of scrolling through social media. How about that? Also, if you need any website services, you need a web development, you just want a website, or you want a Shopify store, you want to put your products online to sell, you can email us or go to Fiverr. I'll put the link to the Fiverr in the description below so that you can go on there, go ahead and book the gig and pay for it, and you can get you a website or a Shopify store. So thank you all for watching the video. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps us out. That helps the YouTube algorithm show our video and our content to more people. So I just want to thank you all for watching the video, and we'll see you all next time.
Peace.